All right, let's get right into it. Behind literally every app you use, every single recommendation you get, there's this unseen machinery humming away in the background. We're going to pull back the curtain on that hidden world of data pipelines and see what makes everything tick. So, you've probably heard this phrase a million times, right? Data is the new oil. It's a great analogy, but what does it really mean? Well, think about crude oil straight from the ground. It's not very useful, is it? Data is the same way. Its real power, its real value, only gets unlocked after it's been collected, processed, and refined. Which, of course, begs the question, if data is the crude oil, what's our version of the pumps, the giant tankers, and the refinery? How do we actually turn all this raw, messy potential into something genuinely powerful and, usable? To answer that, we first got to understand the problem itself. And the problem is that raw data, the stuff that comes straight from all the different sources, it's messy. It's the total opposite of the clean, organized information we actually need to make smart decisions. And honestly, messy is putting it mildly. You've got duplicate records everywhere, information that's just plain missing, totally inconsistent formats, like, phone numbers with dashes and some without. Some data is just flat out wrong. Trying to run a business on that, it's like trying to run your car on crude oil. It's just not going to work. So the solution to all this chaos is what we call a data pipeline. This is the critical infrastructure that does all the hard work. It takes data from that messy, raw state and turns it into a valuable, refined product. This is the refinery in our analogy. So what exactly is a data pipeline? At its heart, it's just a series of automated steps that do two key things. They move and they transform data. A pipeline grabs information from a whole bunch of different places. It cleans it, it reshapes it, and then it delivers it to a final destination where all that new value can finally be pulled out. Here's a super simple look at one in action. Over on the left, you've got your raw data, in this case, server logs. That data gets collected and shoved into a process phase. This is the refinement. And finally, that clean, structured data gets loaded into its destination, a big, powerful database called a data warehouse, making it totally ready for analysis. But here's the thing. A single pipeline doesn't just exist on its own in a vacuum. Nope. It's part of a much bigger ecosystem of tools and technologies that we call the modern data stack. If the pipeline is the refinery, the stack is the entire refinery complex, the whole shebang. And inside this stack, you've got all the key pieces working together. You have your data sources, tools to pull the data in, platforms to model it, and orchestration systems that are kind of like the air traffic controllers, making sure everything runs smoothly. And right there, at the center of it all, is the absolute powerhouse of the modern stack. And that's the powerful cloud-based data warehouses and data lakes. We're talking about technologies like Snowflake, Google BigQuery, or Amazon Redshift. These things have completely changed the game. They offer nearly unlimited storage and just mind-boggling computational power, which has led to a huge shift in how we build pipelines. And that brings us to one of the most important changes in the entire data world, the big shift from a process called ETL to a new one called ELT. I know, it sounds like a tiny typo, but trust me, the implications are absolutely massive. See, the old way was ETL. That stands for extract, transform, and load. You'd pull the data out of its source, you'd have to clean it and reshape it on some other separate server because the old databases just weren't strong enough, and only then would you load the final clean data into the warehouse. But the modern way, it completely flips those last two steps. It's ELT, extract, load, transform. Now you extract the raw data and you load it immediately, mess and all, straight into that powerful cloud data warehouse. All the heavy lifting, all the transformation now happens right inside the warehouse itself. So why the big change? Well, the old ETL way was slow and super rigid, mostly because you were limited by those weak databases. You had to know exactly what you wanted to do with the data before you even started. The new ELT approach, though, it takes advantage of all that insane cloud power to be way faster and incredibly flexible. You can just dump all your raw data in there first and figure out what questions to ask later. It's a game changer. And here's the payoff for the teams doing the work. This ELT model creates this really clean split of jobs. Your data engineers can focus on what they do best, building rock-solid pipelines to extract and load data. And then your data analysts can focus on what they do best, using their expertise to transform that data and pull out insights, all inside the warehouse. It just lets everyone work smarter. Okay, so let's bring this all together. We've seen the problem of messy data, and we've seen how the data pipeline, powered by this modern data stack, is the solution. So, what does this all mean for you and me out here in the real world? Well, here's the thing. That perfect chart your boss looks at every morning, that scarily accurate product recommendation you just got, that AI model predicting what's going to be a bestseller, all of it is just the tip of the iceberg. Underneath it all, it's these data pipelines, just working away silently, 24/7, making it all happen. And that's really the key takeaway here. Just collecting tons and tons of data isn't enough. The real value, the thing that gives businesses an edge, comes from building these efficient, scalable pipelines that can refine that raw data and deliver it exactly where it needs to go, right when it's needed. So that leaves us with one final thought. We've made this incredible leap from ETL to ELT, but technology never ever stands still. As data gets even more complex and the demand for real-time information just explodes, the big question becomes, what's the next great shift? What will the data pipelines of the future even look like?